Welcome to the Voice Summit, coming to you from NJIT. This is Newark, New Jersey. This is the largest voice technology summit in the world, and one of the issues we're examining here is the relationship, the connection between what's going on in the voice summit world and the law. A whole bunch of issues around privacy, confidentiality, and a gentleman I'm about to introduce you to knows them well, deals with them every day. He's Frank Cannone, Chair, Corporate Department at Gibbons P.C, a law firm based right here in Newark.
Correct.
And to disclose, a longtime supporter of what we've been doing in public broadcasting at the Caucus Educational Corporation. So Frank, we were talking about this right before we got on the air. Gibbons is involved in this Voice Summit because?
Oh, for a number of different reasons. One, we're headquartered in Newark, but as from a business perspective, and I'm chair of the corporate department, it's always been critical for us to look at industries and see where we service that industry best. And the Voice Summit coming here last year, of which we were a part of, its first year, we saw the potential. Saw the potential from a business perspective and also for the city of Newark and for the industry. And that's why we're part of it.
Frank's about to do a panel, to be a series of panel discussions right after this. They really revolve around the question of voice technology and privacy, confidentiality. Let's break this down. Is the law, keeping up with the technology around voice, meaning, laws are being changed every day because technology is moving so quickly? We know how to protect people, their financial information, personal, we're good, right?
Well, see, that's the challenge, right? If you go back in time, when was the first stop sign in America put up for the automobile industry? 1910, right? Decades after the automobile was created, right? Decades, first stop sign. And you know what? That's because regulations and rules need to take a while to develop and to deal with the needs of the technology. Here in tech, it's even more accelerated because it becomes disruptive and it changes so quickly.
Define disruptive.
Disruptive, depending on what the industry is, right? And it could from Ubers to Airbnb, but it's more than that. So from a legal perspective, right, data protection, privacy, constitutional law issues, criminality.
Hold on, what does it have to do with constitutional law?
Well, it depends how you're communicating with the device and whether or not there's a reasonable expectation of privacy that's going to be expected. Well, you're sitting there talking to your Echo device in your living room, and it may or may not be listening to you. Is there an expectation that that was going to be held confidentially without the government or some other third party accessing it? That's important. And that's part of the evolution. And what happens is regulators and lawmakers and legislators, their view in life is different. They're trying to stop a catastrophe. They're trying to stop something, whereas the entrepreneur, the business person is moving their business forward. And there's a gap there. By the time the legislators can deal with a problem.
Or the regulators and government agencies.
Correct, can deal with a problem. Here, at least in tech, you may be on to the next wave of evolution of that technology. I mean, where was voice just a handful of years ago? It's pretty amazing, right?
Compared to where it is today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how did we start out, right? We started out communicating with our computer by using a keyboard, right? And then all of a sudden it went to the phone. We used our fingers. And now we're going to be speaking to the device. And, we could have had regulations years ago as it worked its way through the process.
Should it have happened?
Well, it depends.
Do you think that folks in Washington who are in Congress, folks who are in regulatory agencies, because this is not unless I'm wrong, this is not a state-by-state issue. Yeah, we're in New Jersey, we're in Newark. But it's not New Jersey's going to have laws. California's going to have laws.
Illinois, Massachusetts,
That's crazy.
Well, that's just part of the evolution of it. So Europe, right, with GDPR, unified its 28 members or countries to have a data protection rule.
Hold on, back up. You went through that quickly. There was a consortium created of European countries.
Correct.
To do what?
To deal with who owns the content of your personal information. So from your driver's license to information about your social security number to your likes and dislikes when you go and communicate with an organization, that information, right, in theory belongs to you. But what ends up happening is companies had access to it, and they were using it for business purposes. It's what happened. As a matter of fact,
hold on. We're talking. By the way, we're doing this in the heat of the summer of 2019. It'll be aired in the fall. Did Facebook, as they were trying to figure out, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's get more people using Facebook, let's expand the technology. Do you think they were sitting there pondering the question, Sheryl Sandberg and the CEO? Help me on this.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing, whether they knew it or not.
Oh, the Zuckerberg guy. Yeah, no, we're not holding a fundraiser for him, trust me. So you think they're sitting there going, hey, wait a minute. Let's really think through the privacy questions. Let's think through the legal issues. Let's really protect people's confidentiality. Clearly, it's not an editorial statement. That's why there are hearings before Congress. We can have the same thing with voice?
I will tell you right now, the beauty of this and this conversation today in the Wall Street Journal, the FTC and Facebook came to a settlement.
Hold on, the Federal Trade Commission
and Facebook.
As we tape today?
It was in the paper today, so it happened probably yesterday.
Go ahead.
With respect to a fine that was levied on Facebook for $5 billion.
$5 billion with a B.
With a B. And the reason for that was the fact how they managed the information that was given to them from private information, data.
So what's the lesson for the voice technology community based on that $5 billion fine?
Well, first of all, the FTC really doesn't have, the beauty of this is the FTC really doesn't have authority over Facebook. But what they did was they could possibly get them with authority, but they came to a settlement to resolve the issue. Then you say, $5 billion, does that stop someone like Facebook? Now they understand it going forward, because I think it was the Cambridge Analytics issue that created this firestorm. Yes. And so now they've at least they've dealt with their problem.
What about voice? Okay, in this conference, the fact that you and your colleagues, from a legal point of view, from a constitutional point of view, from a privacy and confidentiality point of view, I'm impressed that you're even here doing this. Because what they could have said was, let's leave those folks out of here, because all they're going to do is raise complicated issues, and we want to innovate, we want to grow, get out of our way. But that wouldn't have been strategic.
No, it wouldn't. And Google and others have spoken about it. Bill Gates and others have talked about we need to self-regulate ourselves, or at least address it.
Self-regulate?
Well, or at least address the concerns with data privacy, dealing with security, and dealing with the other issues of communicating information and dealing with that information, not only from a regulatory standpoint, but even from nefarious individuals that were going to use that data against. So, for example, you've got your home security system now works by voice activated, right? And if somebody wanted to breach it and they stand outside and say, hey, open up all the doors. Oh my goodness.
But that's my voice. Hold on, I hate to do this.
Yeah.
We have that.
Yeah.
But don't they know my voice, my wife's voice?
Well, if somebody has eavesdropped onto the technology and somehow has cloned it, it's something you need to be concerned with. Again, it goes to the evolution of what I had mentioned before about that stop sign in 1910, right? It takes a while. You look at today, the automobile industry, from safety, the driver ed, to all the items that are out there to make sure that we protect the person and the consumer. It's unprecedented.
This is not just for those who are involved in voice technology. Frank, this is for all of us who not only use technology, but are impacted by it.
Correct. And I would say even from all of it, as a corporate lawyer and the head of our corporate department, it's a critical part of our economy. And having these ideas and innovations go into the marketplace, it's fundamental that they be capitalized properly. And we as an organization, we've got a leading corporate department and a leading IP department. And together we have scientists. We have
intellectual property is IP.
Is IP. And so you have intellectual property aspects to all of this. And we within our team, on the IP department, which is a leader within the space, where we're able to help for scientists and technicians and engineers, that fits in very well from the corporate side. And the corporate side sits there and says, okay, how do I finance this? How do I protect myself from liability? How do I ensure I'm compliant with the laws, but also allows me to raise money?
Without having a serious problem come up later on that everyone sees as a crisis and we're going to react or overreact.
That's right.
Frank Cannone is chair of corporate department at Gibbons P.C., a law firm based right here in Newark. And again, to disclose, they've been very involved in what we do every day and supportive of our efforts to inform and engage the public around these issues. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health, PSE&G, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the Northward Center, New Jersey Sharing Network, the New Jersey Education Association, and by Wells Fargo. Promotional support provided by Insider NJ, and by New Jersey Monthly. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.